At the crack of dawn, we're cooking it, brewing it, grilling it, flipping it. McDonald's fires up the grill every morning so you can start digging into it and enjoying it. And mix and matching it with 2 breakfast sandwiches for $4. Egg McMuffin, sausage McMuffin with egg, or bacon, egg, and cheese McGriddles. Your choice, just $4. Add a small McCafe frappe for $2 more. Make your morning routine a little better. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the war room. We got Dez, Kill, Jimmy, PJ, B. Austin, the hot block commander. How you wanna end a 1 or 2 hour show to keep the brain running with the premise to talk sports on a national level. Roll with the topic, sorta like the rebels. When it's game time, they like the Fab Five during prime time. Sports conglomerates speak their minds a little bit. For sports medicine and sports veterans and greats. The 4th and 26th, so the war in Kuwait. It's the war room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys, diversified and educated.
What's up, everybody out there in War Room Land? Welcome to another edition of the War Room. We'd like to welcome you back in the War Room like we do week after week. This is actually our first show of our 9th season. It's crazy out in these streets. We just had our 8th anniversary episode last week. But I'm one of your hosts. I'm Devin McMillan. And right now, I'm not at the round table with anybody. I'm flying this thing solo right now. I'm supposed to be in the house, but Jimmy's listed doubtful, but he may make an appearance later in the show. Week 1 of the NFL season is in the books. And we, got to spit some bars on the Serena situation from last weekend. So keep it locked right here. And if you want to get in on the conversations, make sure you sign in right now to the JW Philly Realty chat room. That's at blogtalkradio.com/the War Room, or you could join us on Facebook or Twitter at War Room Sports. You can also call us directly in about 10 minutes when we open up the Digital Extreme Tech Hotline. That number is 323-410-0012. But before we get started, make sure that during the week, when we're not live on the air, that you check us out. Check out the archive episodes on the website, warroomsports.com, the War Room Sports mobile app, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spreaker, most other places you do podcast listening. It's been a pretty good week so far. A lot of things happening in sports. The NFL is back, so that's dominating the headlines. The whole Serena Williams thing, we'll get that in a little while. Serena, I think, not more so than a lot of the people that we know from our sports that we cover the most here, basketball, football. But Serena is a polarizing figure, and I think, a lot of times she makes news, especially for the reason that she's making news this week. It's a really polarizing situation, and it seems like it's been gripping the sports world on each end. All you got to do is go to the War Room Sports Facebook page, and you'll see some of the seriousness in the conversations that, screaming at an umpire and things like that, having a meltdown, which a lot of athletes do, but you'll see how the reaction is from someone with the stature of a Serena Williams. It's been kind of weird, some of the things that we've heard all week about the Serena Williams situation. But either way, it's an interesting one to say the least. But we're going to get right into some of these hot topics, and hot topics are brought to you by MyBookie. What up, everybody? Let's talk turkey for a minute and how much of it you can make betting on sports contests at MyBookie. The NFL is back, so if you haven't yet checked out MyBookie, this is a great time to do so. Lay down some dough on the biggest games in sports. Join us and thousands of other online players placing bets at mybookie.ag. You tired of getting a runaround when it's time for a payout? That's why we urge you to join MyBookie. You win, they pay fast and without any hassles. You're wasting your time betting on sports anywhere else. They even have in-game live betting so you can place wagers after tip-off, kickoff, face-off. Join now, and MyBookie will match your first deposit with a 50% bonus. Just use the promo code War Room to activate the offer. I'm sorry, not the War Room, just War Room. All caps, WARROOM, to activate this offer. Visit mybookie.ag today. Play, win, and get paid, period. All right, so real quick, Gus Griffin can't be with us today, so I'm gonna give you. He did give me his picks for the week. Last week, unfortunately, Gus he went a paltry 1-5 with his picks against the spread last week. He told me during the games when it wasn't looking so good, he said if he ended up getting shut out this week, he was going to fire himself. But I'm not going to let him fire himself because he made a dramatic comeback last year when all looked grim at the end of the season. So, you know, if you took Gus's picks last week and you went out and lost you some money, don't worry. He'll bring it back. All right, so these are the games that he's going to go with this week. Let me pull this up real quick. And, the homie Fred Perdue is going to join me in just a few minutes. But I'm going to pull Gus's picks up so everybody can get their betting line straight for this NFL Sunday. And he's going first with the Kansas City-Pittsburgh game. He has Kansas City plus 5.5 over Pittsburgh. He's going to go with the New York Jets minus 2.5 over Miami. Washington minus 5.5 over Indianapolis. Minnesota plus just a half a point over Green Bay. Carolina plus 5.5 over Atlanta. So again, one more time, that's Kansas City plus 5.5 over Pittsburgh. New York Jets minus 2.5 over Miami. Washington minus 5.5 over Indianapolis. Minnesota plus a half a point over Green Bay. So that's basically a pick'em game, and he's going with Minnesota that one. And Carolina plus 5.5 over the Atlanta Falcons. So let's talk a little bit about, this situation, and let me welcome the homie Fred Perdue onto the line as well. Fred, what's going on, good brother?
What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. Your man B. Austin, I don't know where the hell he is, so thanks for calling in, covering for him for a little while. No, I was just about to get into this, and I don't know how much you've been paying attention to this whole tennis thing with Serena Williams at the U.S. Open last week. It's been like a polarizing story in the sports world because you have some people. I mean, and it seems like these days, man, the same people are on the opposite ends of every argument. And as we get into the conversation, I think people are going to recognize who those people are. But Serena lost the match to up-and-comer Naomi Osaka from Japan. Her mom's Japanese and her dad is Haitian. She don't allow you to not put that part in there because a lot of people try to just make her Japanese. So as the match was winding down, Serena she had a deficit to overcome, but she got into some things with the umpire. The umpire first gave her, he talked to her about being coached, and I don't know if you know tennis rules or not you, Phil. I'm talking to the audience out there. You're not allowed to be coached during the game. Serena had a big argument with their umpire and telling him that she's not being coached, and he's accusing her of a cheater. She's never cheated in her life. Later on, after that, came a racket smash. And then even later after that, there was some more jawing back and forth between Serena and the chair umpire when he ended up taking a point. She called him a thief. She tried to make him apologize. There was just a whole lot going on. And there's been conversations surrounding this all week because Serena, while she was arguing, Fred, kind of took the stance of, dude being sexist in his judgments and in his calls. Some people thought she was crying wolf on that. Other people took her back on that. Like, what were your thoughts when this whole thing went down? Like, what do you think Serena's role was in this whole thing? What do you think the chair umpire's role was? All in all, we know what they did, and that was kind of ruin Naomi Osaka's moment. You know, she just finished beating her idol, her absolute idol, in Serena Williams, but she basically said she even had to turn away while Serena was arguing with the umpire because she just didn't want to, that energy. She didn't want to see that. So what were your thoughts surrounding this whole debacle this week?
Well, for when I saw everything, I saw her Serena's coach. He was doing a little bit of coaching. He even admitted he kind of did a little coaching. He admitted, but at the same time, he said that she couldn't see him. And, I mean, you could tell there was something. It may have been something going on.
Awesome.
May have not been going on. But for me, it is a double standard. In pretty much any sport you really look at, especially a single sport like a golf or a tennis where it's just you and you, essentially. You can't blame anyone else. There in tennis for men can do a little bit of some things that you normally would. You can argue with the umpires. You can do some other things that women can't normally do. When you see a female athlete, going back and forth with a ref, it's looked at as being disrespectful. But for a male athlete, he can go back and forth, and he's just pleading his case. So I do agree with Serena a little bit, and she's an emotional person. She also, when it comes, most athletes are emotional. It's just the way it is. You're a competitor. She's frustrated. She sees what's going on. She sees the double standard. She sees she's being done wrong, and she decided to say something about it. I mean, I found it quite funny for a while. It was like how she seemed like she was egging him on a little bit, and he finally bit.
Yeah,
good point.
And I get what she was saying also, and I get what you're saying, Fred, and the stance that a lot of people are taking, in the male versus female thing. But at the same time, people, especially with this particular chair umpire, he's taking points from male tennis players as well for the same kind of stuff. So in this case, and it wasn't just them going back and forth about a call. Like, now there's some words this week that was used by people when they discussed Serena, and like it was actually some words being used that I was kind of ashamed to agree with. Now listen to what she was telling him. She was, saying, You need to apologize to me. And she kept saying, say sorry, say sorry, say sorry. Like, yo, that really sounded like some petulant child entitlement type stuff. And I'm a Serena fan. Yeah.
Privilege.
What'd you say, B?
I said she's entitled, she's privileged, and as a black woman, it's sort of sad that her whole tirade and petulant child act is taking away from the Haitian Japanese descended Miss Osaka, who actually won and actually competed and is humble and graceful in her victory. I'm disgusted by Serena's actions. I just have to be honest.
Yeah, because I didn't want the problem was like some of the people who were saying this, they were people who want to disagree and have something to say about Serena no matter what the situation was. So it means me you have to agree with people like that sometimes, but here, what we pledge and what we vowed to do was to keep it 100 every time. just the actual words that she was saying to dude. Like, we talk about white privilege a lot on this show, and she, you know, if I close my eyes and listen to this exchange, I would think that Serena was a white woman just trying to tell somebody of, a privileged white woman trying to tell somebody of another ethnicity, you know, what you need to do to make me feel better. You need to apologize.
Well,
you need to do this. You need to do that. I didn't really like where Serena was going with that. And then she just started throwing things out there that would make you think she is kind of crying wolf in this situation. She just all of a sudden said, you know, I'm a mother, I have a daughter, and I'm here fighting for women's rights. And Serena, you're here playing a tennis match. Like, but we're doing this because we know our community, we're all going to jump on board with that. And Serena and Venus, Serena and Venus, no doubt, have taken the brunt of a lot of unfairness throughout their careers, whether it be sexism, racism, or whatever. But I just feel in this situation, I think it went way farther than it needed to go. And like I said, reluctantly, because I know this wasn't going to be a popular stance. And you know how the black people are when we don't all agree. You know the kind of stuff they're going to call you. But I really do think that this was, you know, Serena's fault this time.
I totally 100% agree with you, Dev. And I think that she does subscribe to I put it this way. I don't think Serena any longer identifies with the culture that so vehemently likes to say that she represents them anyway. So I'm not surprised to see her act like a petulant, entitled, privileged child and bring up things that aren't necessarily germane to what happened, because that's not truly what she identifies with anymore. And again, I'm most sad because there's another woman of color who won, who's really in performance is grown, but in a lot of ways it is junior to Serena, a child, if you will, and she's, you know, doing amazing things on the circuit. But here we go with the attention grabber, with the standard routine of Serena, you know, throwing a temper tantrum. And you're right, historically speaking, she has fought through a lot of adversity, but I think she's always used to being in that position, so it's almost like it's a default position for her to fall back on. Oh, here we go, oppress Serena, because she's used to it, so that's her default. And in this case, nah, you were wrong. You got called out for it, and your coach admitted that he did it regardless of what everyone else does. You got caught in the wrong. Yo, I'm like, yo, you're wrong on this one, man. You're wrong on this one. So I agree. Entitled, privileged Serena.
Yeah, I just don't like the language she's using, because, you know, we can't complain about what other people do, you know, if we're going to be doing and condoning the same thing. You know what I'm saying? And it really, you know, it was really a bad look. It was like I mean, granted, had the point not been taken, they let the match go. Like, Serena had a deficit that probably wouldn't have been overcome. However, if she did, it would have been one of the greatest comebacks that we've, you know, ever been privy to witness. Nothing really told you that the momentum was swinging in that direction. So you start to look at it as being a bit of a sore loser at the time. And everybody should know from every single, and even in this, like, we defend Serena Williams all the time. I was defending Serena Williams on a page today because somebody, like I said, somebody came there saying things that I didn't necessarily disagree with, but I just didn't like the venom with which he was saying. They're like, why do you have to disrespect Serena to tell us, like, okay, she was acting a little entitled? Like, this dude called her entitled something pig. I'm like, come on, dude. And you know who it is. Same person who comes on there and name calling this his shtick every single time. But yeah, I just didn't think that you had to had to be disrespectful when talking about it, even if you took that position on the situation. So I don't know. Fred, you.
For me, like I said, when I look at an athlete, I look at how athletes are frustrated and they get calls. I mean, calls happen both ways. I don't like how she reacted. I don't like how she, like you said, went in on the ump. If you're just, how you stick it to a ump that may get you, you blow the opponent out. You come back. You do whatever you have to. I've seen it you see a lot of the same behaviors from guys like LeBron and Tom Brady, my guy. He goes out and he yells at refs all the time. So,
go ahead. I'm screening.
For me, I just, when I look at that kind of thing, her way of going about it wasn't great, but I understand her frustration. And as far as how the name calling and things like that, you're supposed to expect that at some point, especially in the climate that we are in now.
Yeah, so I mean that's where I am with it. Serena the entitled, Serena the privileged, rears her head in this case. We know historically what her both her and Venus have overcome, have fought, have dealt with, but at the end of the day, that's not what this is. So you have some folks that are going to give her the benefit of the doubt, or going to label this as something that it wasn't. I think as you mentioned, Dev, but to me this was ugly, and I'm just mad that it takes away from another woman's shine, especially a woman of color, young, coming up, doing her thing. So salute to Miss Osaka. She did her thing.
Me, I didn't like. I have no problem with arguing your case to a chair umpire. Like I said, I just didn't like where it went. Like, let's keep talking about, the point and why you were getting the point taken or why you didn't like it. Like, I'm cool with all of that. But, we, with the say sorry multiple times and you're a thief.
Yeah, she
for
sounds like a little
point.
kid.
It just got dramatic for me. It got a little dramatic for me for somebody, who roots for Serena. But wait, we have somebody on the line who is a tennis expert. Actually, he wrote a column for WarRoomSports.com yesterday about this very situation. Let me get him on the line now. We got Jason Campbell calling in. Jason, what's going on, good brother? You're in the War Room.
What up, Jay?
No problem. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, so, that was a really good piece that you wrote about the situation. And I'm sure some of the stuff that you probably heard just now that you might disagree with. What were your thoughts on the entire situation with Serena and the Empire?
I'm not a person for that light confrontation anyway. So it's always my preference and always my hope that she keeps her cool on court. But I think people are looking at this very, very short-sightedly. You know what I mean? This is a place where Serena just started getting support within the last 3 years. Before, anytime that somebody was playing her, they were the underdog. They were the one that got the crowd support, even though she was playing in America. So this has always been a very sensitive place for Serena. And to understand it, you have to go back and look at the history of it. The reason why Hawkeye challenges exist across the spectrum of tennis is because of Serena's the way she was cheated at the 2004 quarterfinal against Jennifer Capriati. After the match, Capriati didn't even say those calls were bad. She said, well, I deserve luck too. So wow. Serena's been cheated at the U.S. Open going back at least 14 years. So now you're having her competing for history, and she has this debacle where she doesn't even see the coaching happen. She doesn't know what's going on. She's never even got a coaching violation ever. She's never even had coaching when it's legal at non-Grand Slam tournaments on the WTA Tour. So to have somebody say, hey, you got a coaching violation, all she saw was thumbs up when she looked at her box or whatever. And mind you, she's half the football field away from her coaching box, so she really doesn't even see what's going on. So Carlos Ramos, instead of explaining it, he just pretty much smoothed it over. And when she said, hey, I know you don't know that I don't cheat, but, you know, I'm not a cheater, so this is what it is, and I'm just letting you know that I would never do that. So instead, he just kind of plays it off like it was nothing, doesn't explain to her, hey, I saw his hands do this, you know, explain it to your box. I just don't, you know, just this is a warning, just whatever. Instead of doing that, he made it an actual warning on the scoreboard in terms of she did anything else is an automatic point. And instead of explaining that to her, when she cracks her racket, as most tennis players do when they're frustrated, she was letting her nerves get the best of her. She's up a break, and she loses that break. So she's frustrated, and now she cracks her racket. Instead of him explaining, hey, because of the coaching violation, I have to give you a point penalty, he just let her feel as though he cheated her. Instead of explaining it and trying to do what he's supposed to do as an officiator of the game, to say, hey, this is what happened. It's you know, explain it, smooth it over, you lose a point, try to, you know, get back in the match and just leave it alone. He was just ignoring her pretty much. And when she said, you owe me an apology, he never took a chance to say, hey, or try to defuse the situation. He was just letting it build and build and build. And when she called him a thief, he docked her a whole point. And I feel like players have actually used profanity. Serena never cussed at him. All she wanted was him to apologize for questioning her integrity. And I think you have to look at it holistically. She's never gotten a coaching violation, so she doesn't even know what that entails. She doesn't know if she has to pay a fine at the end of the match or what. It just never happened. And so I feel like as an officiator, your job is to communicate effectively and efficiently. There's only two people that you're answering to. It's not like an NFL game where you have 11 people from both sides trying to come and talk to you, or you have two basketball teams trying to talk to you during the game. It's just two people you have to make sure that they know what's going on at all times. And I just feel like
my question is this, though. How do you get that across to somebody who's, you know, obviously upset? You know, because at some point there was still discourse going on between the two of them, but she kept repeating, you need to apologize to me. Like, as a chair umpire,
right. How do you?
At some point I think we need to move, you know, we would have to move on from that sentence, because I'm not going to apologize.
Absolutely, but if you are seemingly ignoring a player and instead of explaining what happened, when he was like, I'm not going to apologize, and instead of him saying, you know, I'm not going to apologize because he actually did it, you need to talk to your coach, he just made it seem like she received coaching and that she was benefiting from that coaching. And that bothers her because, again, you're dealing with somebody who's been ridiculed for their body, their attire. If she wears a pair of shorts, her body's going to look different than another tennis player wearing shorts. And so she has to be careful with what she wears, how she reacts at all times. So she's under constant scrutiny. Now, you're accusing her of cheating, and this is the one thing that she's never been accused of doing, and you're doing it at a Grand Slam final when you have over 3 million people watching. I think that anybody would be offended that their character was called into question in such a way, especially if that's something that you would never do or have never done.
So my question is this:
I defer
to you on this as a tennis expert. Why is it that, you know, players are punished for, you know, what their coach might be doing on the sideline? Like, why can't the coach be removed or something as a warning for them to know,
right.
You know, what because she had no idea what he was doing.
Point.
He actually admitted to it, but like, why do they get punished for what the coach is doing?
Exactly, and I think the problem with that is it's very selective. Players and their coaches, players receive coaching from their coaches all the time. You have tennis players like Djokovic and Nadal and Federer that always look at their box and communicate. Most times they do it in their native tongue, so sometimes they luck out when the umpire does not know what's being said. So you don't know if that's coaching or you're just complaining to your box. So with him seeing those signals that he gave, he just assumed I can say that this is coaching because these hand signals are pretty clear to me. He saw it, she didn't. So instead of him, it's a selective thing. You know, it's very selective. You don't know what somebody's saying when they're speaking Croatian, or you don't know what they're saying. They're speaking German, but you understand hand signals, so I can go with that. And I think it was just an unlucky situation that the umpire did not care to diffuse by trying to explain it. You know, sometimes they can get down from their chair and say, hey, look, this is what happened. I'm going to explain it to you because I don't want this to become a huge deal. And instead of doing that, and I mean, umpires pretty much are in rotation of all the matches that they officiate. So players know these umpires by first name. They know, like, if they say, oh, Allison Hughes is going to be officiating your match, they're like, okay, yeah, she's a very stickler. She's not very she's very by the book. Or if you have Tater Nooney, who was very, very emotionally intelligent, and he could say, you know what, this situation is a little bit different. I'm going to handle it accordingly. So players know these umpires just like the umpires know the players. These umpires know Serena doesn't get coaching. She never even signs up for it. And you have to sign up for it with the umpire so they can keep an eye on it. So they know who her coach is, and they know that she never even communicates with her box like that. So I think that was just a situation where she was standing up for herself, and the umpire just wasn't comfortable with it or didn't like it or didn't care for it. And it just felt very sexist and misogynistic and everything else along the lines of that. And I know that she was being very adamant about wanting an apology, but she's owed that by tennis and much more. This is the same family that was ridiculed because they didn't play juniors, and here she is playing till she'll be 37 in a week or so, and that's a benefit that she's still playing. So I think tennis just owes her and her family an apology for all the hell that they've been put through, especially from Indian Wells being booed and called the N-word and being questioned about her integrity, whether her and Venus decide who's going to win a match at the before the match even starts. So things like that have been accumulated. And I think looking at this very short-sightedly is it's irresponsible, honestly. You can't look at this one situation and say, oh, she's being childish, without looking at the history that her and her family have endured at the hands of tennis.
Oh, no, that's because we definitely acknowledged, what that was. And, how someone could think that it is a short-sighted look at everything. I'm just not really – she is a vet, so she knows everything about the game. She knows the backlash that's going to come, and she might not care about the backlash. She might just care about fighting for herself, which is all good. And like I said, I don't mind. Like, I think if somebody's, if they're wronging you, then you argue to the death. It was just some of the stuff that she was saying to him, which I felt was a waste of time in that conversation anyway, that rubbed me the wrong way. The whole repeatedly, you owe me an apology. Like, we kind of know this guy is not going to step down here and say, oh, I apologize. And so it's like, let's move on from that, and let's seek that apology after the match. Right now, let's just argue about, why we're not, why you're taking this point, or, why I feel like I'm being cheated right
agree.
Now. Yeah, and that was my biggest beef with her. I'm like, argue to the death, but let's keep it about, what you're upset about. But, Jason, we really appreciate you calling in and giving us a few minutes. Thank you also for writing the piece for the website. And if you ever need an event of tennis or anything in sports, you have both of those mediums to your, if you need them. You can write for the blog.
I definitely call in
on Thursday and get whatever off your chest you need to, man. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I appreciate it, man.
All right, no doubt. Thanks a lot, man.
All right, you have a good one.
You too. All right. Jason Campbell, everybody. If you haven't read his piece on the Serena Williams U.S. Open situation, just go to warroomsports.com. It's at the top of the blog section of the page right now. So it was interesting. Like I said, I understand exactly what the brother's saying. It was just certain parts of like with B. Austin, the examples we gave. There were just certain entitlement words in there. And I'm like, yo, argue for what you're arguing about. Forget all of that. You owe me an apology, and I'm doing this for women's rights and all that. Yo, that's a fight that we fight outside of the match. Right now, if even if you was used for profanity, why don't you take a point from me? Like, I'm cool with all of that kind of stuff. Even if you keep that to a control level. But no, you know what I mean? You can't look past what they've endured throughout the whole thing. But we can't fall into that trap and into those behaviors just because of, the behaviors of other people. We still got to keep it classy at all times. All right, so real quick, now I know Fred and I talked about this on Quick Slants this week, and if you're a college football fan, make sure you go to the War Room Sports YouTube channel and check out the latest episode of Quick Slants, which is our college football show. hosted by Fred Perdue and myself. Texas A&M, B. Austin, has hopped atop the universe. They've hopped top Longhorns, hook 'em horns, as the most valuable program in college football. Now, Texas has long held that distinction, and we know it's just no matter who's on top of everything. When Miami was on their run, Texas was still the money school. As Alabama's been on their run, Texas was still the money school. When USC was on their run, Texas was still the money school. But Texas A&M jumps up to most valuable in this year's Forbes list. And I'm going to bring the list out right now and tell you exactly how much. And this brings about another conversation that we've had plenty of times on this show. The Aggies right now, last season, brought in a revenue of $148 million and a profit of $107 million. To bring it into perspective, Texas, who's usually at the top of this list, their revenue was $133 million, profit $87 million. You followed up by Michigan, Alabama, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Auburn, LSU, and the Florida Gators to round off the top 10. Besides the fact that, there's finally somebody else at the top of this list, what conversation this brings up, B. And, people look at these revenue and look at this profit, and they wonder why these players aren't getting paid. Like, you can't escape that kind of talk when you're looking at these many millions of dollars in revenue.
I'm gonna go ahead and make a large segment of America quite angry. Man, salute to slave owners, slavers, plantations everywhere, because the benefit of that is the global world sports scene. Again, 72 to 74% of the NFL is of African descent or black. I'm not quite sure of that percentage of ethnic makeup in NCAA football, but I'm pretty sure it's above 50% black, while we're still only 12 to 15% of the population in the country. Man, salute to slavery and slave owners everywhere, as the wealth distribution gap continues to grow, and athletics, particularly college athletics, is nothing more than a testament and testimony to that fact, because these black players and white and other ethnicities, none of that money as it comes into these colleges and universities. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing? There's so many different ways that students and athletes could benefit from these revenue streams. I've gone on record as saying, hey, listen, you don't have to pay a 17, 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old in actual cash and checks. You could set up health benefits. You could set up, a trust account that they couldn't access until they were 30. You could do any number of things that would make them a little bit or a lot of bit more responsible with economic and financial benefit from them playing at these colleges and universities, where their talent and ability brings the institution economic and financial value and benefit. But no, that's not the exploitative way of the great America. And some will still argue that these young men and women, but mainly men, receive a free education. But we know that is often a joke in a lot of cases. So, there's value in that, B, to the people who value it. But these dudes aren't going to school for an education. You know what I'm saying? When the semester's up, when football's up for the semester, these dudes will never show up to a class again, and that's basketball and football. So, yeah, so I don't want to dismiss it like it has no value, because I think there is a lot of value to that, and I think people should value it, but we can't force people to put a value on education.
But like we've always talked about, like I'm not a proponent of just straight up giving college kids a check. Now we've talked about solutions in the past on the show. Right, yeah. Because I know you're with me because you helped craft some of these solutions that we were talking about, like maybe setting these dudes up with a trust and they can't touch it until either they graduate or they're gone from the program.
You can use it as a teaching tool, like a financial education tool. Like, no, you're not going to.
You cannot get. You're getting kids in trouble doing that now. You cannot do that because you're empowering young lives with money knowledge. You're getting. You're making way too much sense now.
They're not going to want to see. So, but yeah, that's what B said is good. Like they could use it as a teaching tool, and I'm not going to just give this to you. I taught you all about it, and when you're done with the program or you graduate, and we're going to send you out into the world with a little bit of a head start from whatever change you made. And another big problem, problem that no one ever had a solution to is like, how do you dole it out? Because some guys are
not every school is built the same. Not every school is built the same.
Not every school is built the same, but not every player on your roster is built the same either. Because if I'm a superstar Heisman candidate, I'd be damned if you giving the 75th man on the roster the same stipend or the same trust that you're giving me. You know what I'm saying? So
and that's where it becomes
everybody's just saying pay him, but nobody's coming up with a viable solution to actually get that done.
One of the saddest things that I see in all of this is, you have players of various economic means, but I think having all been through, undergrad and college, like it's tough, right? So you have players that don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of that come up with pretty creative ways to leverage their value and try and grab a buck or two here and there. So I'm brought to a place where I recall how at Ohio State, what's the wide receiver dude? He ain't Ish, but he started out as Terrell Pryor, right? Pryor
tattoo and
I think he made like $2,000 selling autographs and ended up suspended for
you're not in control of your own name and likeness now. That's where college football and college athletics is odd because you're not in control of any of this.
Right. And that's where I really draw the line, Fred. And I told you this before, like when it comes to jersey sales and it comes to having your likeness on a video game, that's where I draw the line. Like those dudes should have a check. You know what I'm saying? If you're a star player and your jersey is selling off the hook out of the school store, out of the bookstore, wherever you sell jerseys on your campus, you know what I'm saying? You got to walk by windows every day with $10 in your pockets from the little stipend that they're giving you, but you see, you're a mannequin in the window with your jersey on. Like, I can understand how that is very, very unfair.
Yeah, before you continue, I'm thinking, okay, Terrell Pryor was like they tried to roof my man and a couple other players, and then we look at what just happened with the head coach there for ignoring domestic violence and basically not acknowledging it, and he only gets 3 games suspension.
Gets a slap on the wrist. 3 games in the beginning of the season when you're not even really playing anybody.
When you're not playing anybody.
So twisted.
Yeah. They pretty much did roof Terrell Pryor though, because remember he ended up going to the supplemental draft. He didn't even really get his NFL draft.
He was also receiving some other things too. So for me, the tattoos were the least of the worries there at Ohio State. That was the main story, but there were some other things going on there. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
There's always some other things going on.
It's all about control, though. Because what does I'm not saying everybody should just go out and cheat the rules, but like at the end of the day, you getting money on the side, however you got to get it, like that's not making you play better. So it's not really cheating. You know what I mean?
It's
weird.
the integrity of the game. You know the words they use. Integrity of the game and impermissible benefits. Ohio State can provide more than I don't know.
Keep using them big words. I'm gonna take it as disrespect.
Yeah, integrity, like grossing $133 million in one season, and the people everybody came to watch don't get none of that. Yeah, that's integrity.
And for me, when I look at one of the solutions I always said, simply if you just, like V. Austin's been saying, put it in some kind of a trust and require athletes to have to take financial courses. That way they can manage it. Otherwise they can't, and they have to graduate to access it. If you go to the NFL early, you forfeit this. I mean, that requires.
I don't know if you can make graduation a requirement, though, because the graduation rates at a lot of these big programs, I don't know.
I'll leave it at that.
I agree with you up into those parameters, because I don't think you should forfeit it either just because you go to the NFL. If you go to the NFL, that means you were most likely one of the biggest drivers of this money. So why do I not get a piece just because I'm going where you knew I was going,
NFL.
why you brought me here in the first place?
I'll say if you decide to leave school early, that's when you decide you forfeit. NFL or no NFL. At least if you go and get your degree, because most of the guys that actually don't make it to the NFL, if they leave early and they don't make it, cool. But if you somehow get that degree and you stay at least 3 years, 4 years, it encourages you to make that graduation rate. That's that incentive to make that graduation rate go up. Both sides win essentially. It's a couple bucks out of a big name program's pocket when you have when guys are getting their degrees. There's some form of there is no solution works for the ones that are controlling the money. If you financially empower somebody, it's over with, because then now you're going to have the issue of guys knowing how to negotiate their own contracts, because that means you're going to have unions amongst players, and we definitely don't want that in college athletics.
Yeah. I was about to go to Tobias on the phone line, but I think he hung up. Tobias, if you're out there, call back in. Real quick, I wanted to talk a little bit about the boxing matches from this week and the one that's coming up, but we actually not going to have time to do that. So real quick, we'll just talk about the Garcia Porter joint next week. We'll just be late with it. But the Canelo Triple G Part 2 is coming up this Saturday. Since we can't engage in an in-depth conversation because we ran over with some unexpected stuff, I just want you guys to give me a pick who's going to win this rematch. That's not all talk at once, fella.
I'll take Triple G in this one. To me, and you guys are more of the boxing guys than I am, but for me, when I look at the past fights, pretty good fights. But for me, I'll take him.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think that Triple G should have won the first time when they called it a split draw. There's a lot of people, if you read up, say, yeah, I think he got robbed in the first one. I think Canelo is the more skilled boxer. I think in this fight, to be a little more successful, he's going to have to mix in a little more body punching. And he's going to have to go to the body a little bit more and switch it up a little bit. But I don't know if this is just a little bit biased because I'm kind of a Canelo fan, but I'm going to go with Canelo in a decision in this one. Either way, I think it's going to set up a third fight because you're going to have that rubber match out there. You're going to have the draw. You're going to have somebody win. Even in a third fight, you're not going to be able to get a definitive answer to who's really the winner, because if the other boxer wins in the third fight, then you're still back at square one because of the draw in the first place. But I'm going to go with Canelo on this one. B. Austin, you got something real quick? Hey, I guess B. Austin went away from boxing.
Canelo.
All right, so let me do a quick stat of the week, and I actually have two of them. I couldn't choose which one, so I just did both of them. First one is a little tidbit that I picked up while I was watching the Cleveland Browns not take every chance that the Steelers tried to give them to win that game on Sunday. Do you guys know who, since 1999, who has the most touchdown passes at First Energy Stadium in Cleveland since 1999? Do you guys know the answer to that? Which quarterback has the most touchdown passes? Since 1999.
Ben Roethlisberger? Ben Roethlisberger?
See, Fred is clowning. Fred is clowning, but that answer is absolutely correct. And I sat there and just hung my head when they said that, because I'm like, this is more Cleveland being Cleveland. Like, their statistics are even embarrassing. Since 1999, the person who has thrown the most touchdowns in their stadium is an opposing player who comes there once a year. Come on, Cleveland. Ben Roethlisberger has 11 touchdowns at this stadium since 1999, and Derek Anderson has 10. Tim Couch has 9.
Would those
That's
10
crazy.
for Derek Anderson be in the year that they won 10 games? I think that was,
I was about to say, he probably threw all the
04-ish,
touchdowns.
and they still missed the playoffs?
It had to be in 1 year. It had to be in 1 year.
Yo,
This is
still
bad statistic, man.
said they did it all in 1 year.
But this is the sad thing. The sad part about it, it shows you, we always see the graphic with how many quarterbacks the Cleveland Browns have had since 1999 or something like that. And it's something crazy, like if you add Tyrod Taylor to the mix, and Baker Mayfield will get a start this year, whether it's because of performance or Tyrod Taylor killing himself running all around the field. Like, I think Baker Mayfield was going to end up making like 24 or 25 quarterbacks starting.
So they got
for the
enough
Cleveland
quarterbacks to fill the league almost since 99.
Right. So it's crazy that an opposing player would have been even more crazy if it was somebody who wasn't even in their division. I would have just gave up and never watched the Browns game again.
Yeah.
But at least he's in the division. All right, our second one, more of an embarrassing stat for another quarterback. This is about touchdown passes since Carson Wentz tore his ACL in Week 14 last season. So since after he tore his ACL, Carson Wentz has 1 touchdown pass. Now, you guys know, because he stayed in for another play and threw a touchdown pass to Alshon Jeffrey on a torn ACL, an MCL. So since that time, Carson Wentz has 1 touchdown pass. Trey Burton, the tight end, has 1 touchdown pass, Philly special in the Super Bowl. And yes, your man Dak Prescott has 1 touchdown pass since Week 14. Since Carson Wentz tore his knee, Dak Prescott
and
has the same amount of touchdown passes as Trey Burton. Yo, a dude with a torn ACL and MCL, a tight end, both have the same amount of touchdown passes since that time as a quarterback that many before that time was saying better. He was better than Carson Wentz.
Wasn't he
the
savior?
I consider myself a pretty good evaluator of talent. I'm also an Eagles fan, so I'm biased.
Ooh.
And I hate on Dak because he's a Cowboy, but I really didn't think that he was as bad as my hate justified. Like, I thought he was going to be anywhere from okay to good,
But you know what, B? You might have. I talked you off the ledge with that. You were killing Dak, saying about how much of a bum he was and was going to be. I blame it on myself. Like, I talked you off the ledge with it, you know, and I kind of made sense, but now it's looking like I'm wrong. This dude might be RG3.
You got to trust your eyes. You got to trust your eyes. Tell me this. When you're evaluating a quarterback, if, let's just say, said quarterback has the ability to hand it off to one of the best backs in the league and say, on first down, they're getting 1,100 yards on first down. And you're getting 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3, 2nd and 4 on a consistent basis. Is he good?
Fred,
or is his
hold on, Fred, I know where you're going with it, and that's a part of the problem. Like, when you look at what he faces, people know that Ezekiel Elliott is the engine. Zach can't make plays. He can't make plays in single coverage. It's not like he's facing exotic coverages and he's not good at all, man. And I'm afraid that there's not much ceiling for improvement. I just think he's a nice guy.
There's no Jason Witten to bail him out anymore. There's no more Jason Witten to bail you out on those short little dump offs. Des Bryant isn't going to bail you out anymore when you just can throw it up and do it. He can do what he does really well, catch 50-50 balls. Even if he can't separate on a simple slant, we know he can. If you throw it up to him, he's got a chance to come down with it. You're throwing to Cole Beasley, Terrence Williams, and Allen Hurns.
Yo, man, but Dak in his rookie season, man, like the reason I started reluctantly giving him props is because, you know, it seemed like he was a third down killer. You know what I'm saying? Like when I would sit there and think like, okay, he can't possibly be good. Like he would always get out of situations and always keep drives going. I did see a little bit of a chink in his armor that season when, ironically, they faced the Eagles because the Eagles defense put pressure on him that he hadn't seen all season. And he started to make mistakes that we didn't see because you can't front. We didn't see Dak make a lot of mistakes in his rookie season. He started making mistakes that we hadn't seen that whole season. But the Eagles that game offensively were playing at such a level with the turnovers and everything, they kept giving him chances to get back to what he was doing earlier in his rookie season, and he ended up doing that, and he ended up winning that game. But that was the first time that I saw weaknesses in Dak. And then the whole second season, like I saw that every week. And now it's only one game in, and, you know, his weaponry is not that great. But at this point, you know, he should be the one making the weaponry. You're supposed to be good enough to make these dudes around you a little better.
That Carolina game, I watched the all-22 tape on that, and you can blame the talent of his supporting cast, but he had 5 throws that had nothing to do with the defense. It was just him being trapped. Where he missed the throws, I'm like, no, white people are going to say black guys can't play quarterback because of you, yo.
All right, that's the status of the week. We got Tobias back on the line. Let me get him before he gets snatched off again. Tobias, what's going on, good brother? You in the war room.
Man, what's going on, fellas? Roll damn tide, fellas.
Roll damn tide.
Hey, yeah, we have the colonizers walking to the office real quick, so I had to take care of that, you know. Here's the thing. A couple of quick things. First, Serena lost me when she started talking about sexism. Here's the thing also people are missing. Osaka was going Hiroshima on her ass. She was getting smoked anyway. And before everybody started saying black girl magic with her, yes, she's part black, but remember, she's not American black. And it grew up in America. So there's a difference before y'all want her to be social justice. She didn't have those same experiences. Just remember that now. It's not a knock on her because she couldn't choose where she lived at. But also with Serena, when she started talking about sexism, not race. Guess what? You lost me because feminism ain't nothing for white women anyway. Because, you know, my lady had a job where she had a master's degree, making a
She sounded like,
yeah.
you know, she sounded like black girls were always afforded these privileges or something. She really sounded a little weird to me.
Yeah.
My bad. Go ahead.
Yeah. And like I said, like y'all talk about NCAA, my lady used to play ball at San Diego State. She said the stipend they got pretty much went to the rent. So you pretty much ain't got no money anyway. So, and those programs are actually paying for all these other programs as well, like the equestrian team, you know, the swim team. You know,
Exactly.
these leagues ain't making no money. So I say just let the people make their money off of likenesses like autographs, jerseys, video games, so you don't have to go to that whole title line equality BS.
If you're smart,
Right.
you do
I mean,
what good old Leonard Fournette did. He decided to make a T-shirt company, but put everything in his parents managed it, so he wouldn't get in trouble for making money on his own.
Yep.
Because you know you can't have a job in the NCAA. They don't let you do anything. They control your whole life for 4 years. Just saying.
Yep. And y'all talk about Dak Prescott. Well, after one game, all these Tampa fans want Jameis Winston gone for Ryan Fitzpatrick. Hell, I think some of them will take Nathan Peterman right now, the way they hate him. But hate Jameis.
Why do people keep falling for that though?
I don't know.
Yo,
Like the people in Tampa
Emergency.
doesn't know how the Fitz magic ends. Like they don't know how this
They
story.
hate Jameis. A lot of them hate Jameis.
You got to believe Fitzpatrick for a fourth time. You gotta hate him.
Fitzpatrick is the greatest magician ever. Listen, I hope you're not falling for it, Tobias.
Hell no.
Fitzpatrick will turn back into a pumpkin in 6 months. He will be Nathan Peterman. Trust me.
6
Hell.
months? You're giving them 6. I'm giving them.
I'm giving him a week. Hey,
I'm giving him
honestly,
this
I
Sunday.
took the Eagles to the point.
I don't. You're stupid, man. I don't even know if we're gonna ever see Nathan Peterman again. Like he didn't crap the bed on both his opportunities, man.
What
He's
kills
not
me
an
is like
NFL
Eric. It's
quarterback
like,
to me, man.
hey, Bucks fans, a lot of them hate Jameis. Willie will tell you, a lot of them hate him, and it's like and I asked someone, now one Dirk Cutter ain't calling the plays, some old new coordinator is calling the plays, but I asked one guy, and I said, football's a team sport, right? He said, yeah. Name me a quarterback who would have made the playoffs, including Aaron Rodgers, with having a bottom five rushing attack in the worst defense of football, who gave up 3 plays, 75 yards to Tyrod Taylor at the same time in the same year. It's hard. And so that's why I'm telling people it's a
I'm
team
raising
sport
my
now.
hand over here, but I can't. I know you can't see me, but I'm raising my hand over here.
Yeah.
Belichick
We don't listen to
does
light-skinned people. Go ahead, Fred.
What Fred say? If Belichick was the coach, that's what it is.
So what's up, Fred?
Hey man, I'm just telling you. Hey, my coach got it. In Belichick, I trust. I don't know about your team, but in Belichick, I trust.
Hey, does anybody think Dirk Cutter's a good coach? Hell no. He failed at Arizona
Hell
State.
no.
But here's the thing, y'all talking about Dak Prescott. Y'all remember when Dak first came out of college in Dallas, I was one of the few people like, nah, I don't see it. He ain't that dude. And because the problem is that Dak Prescott he's pretty much a light-skinned Tyrod Taylor. He's limited. He won't push the ball. He is what he is. He's super conservative because he's scared to make a mistake. But you need all of this for him to be productive. And in an NFL where you can't touch any receivers, he still can't get 200 yards. So
Wow,
whose fault
that's
is it
a
now?
great point. That's a great point. And I actually think you're insulting Tyrod because I think Tyrod got more explosion in his play than Dak. Yo, Dak is trash, man.
Tyrod's not a bad quarterback. Dak is just bad.
Yeah,
Tyrod's
Gary doesn't want him.
Tyrod terrible to me too, but
Yeah,
that's
he
the thing.
does.
Tyrod has something with him that you can still put your trust in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's different for other people. Like I look at some of the throws and some of the reads Tyrod makes, and I'm like, yo, what is he doing out there? But Tyrod will go and get it on third down, usually with his feet. But you can put your trust in somebody like that because you do know that he's going to leave it all out there no matter how he has to do it. So I can trust a dude like that. Then, especially like I trust Tyrod on a 3rd and long because I know if he doesn't see anything or if he doesn't think he can make the throw, he going to bust his ass to get that first down. Whereas a dude like Dak, like you guys said, he might just pull it down, throw it away on an important 3rd and long just because he doesn't want to be the one to make the mistake.
But Tobias, you should know this more than
like
anybody.
somebody we know might be his idol because I know somebody like that.
Tobias might Tobias,
my dad hates that. It's crazy. My dad's a Cowboys fan. He never liked that. Cause I remember we saw a lot of him at Mississippi State, and I thought he was just a black Tebow, to be honest with you.
I was just about to go there. Tobias, you see
So
him
you're
more than
saying
anybody. He's in the Dan Mullen offense.
Dev is basically saying that Dak is a poor man's version of a 10-year Eagles quarterback.
Oh, hey, is he more accurate than McNabb, by the way? That'd be a good comparison right there. But,
Charlie Brown and Lucy. Charlie Brown more accurate kicking that ball than Donovan McNabb.
But you know what, though? I say this before I roll because I know you got other people. But a lot of these people who ride Fitzpatrick now, what they don't get is, one, the Bucs team was once scoop and score from a recovery. If they didn't get that, he would have got the same treatment they had last year where a quarterback did okay, gave him a lead late, and still blew it. Mind you, they still gave up 40 points. And I'll say this,
what they don't get. Also, what they don't get, Tobias, is Ryan Fitzpatrick is trash.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And by the way, guys, I'll say this real quick. If the media likes you, they will make excuses for you. Now, Deshaun Watson, ACL, I said don't crown him so soon. He won't be Dan Marino this quick. But also, Jimmy G went to bed. Oh, he went against a great defense. I thought he was a second coming. I thought he was supposed to take Tom Brady.
Guys, here's the thing about that. Everybody knows this. You leave the mothership. What happened? Regardless if you're a coach. How many coaches have left the mothership and they all are
Fred in there, boy. I woke up Fred.
You cannot leave the mothership and have success. It doesn't work.
Well, you got to leave the mothership to get paid. So get your money, little duffel bag boy.
Yeah, because you know how they make excuses for him. It's like, dude, unlike the NFL, most defenses are good in the NFL. I don't want to hear these excuses. They crowning this guy as the next great thing, and that's why I was saying over the past year, they need to start crowning these guys because they had a hot streak of 5 games. Let them go through the ups and downs and learn, because these teams are going to figure them out, and what they're going to do after that. And I just think that they're doing you guys a disservice by crowning them after a couple of good games.
No doubt.
You got to have something to talk about, man. You got to have somebody to crown and talk about.
That's
true.
You got to have somebody tear down. You know, they build you up, tear you down. So if they don't crown you, they can't rip your crown off. So.
Oh yeah. And by the way, hey, you guys have a great weekend, and Dak, he's standing toe to the line, baby, with your hand over your heart, baby, because you ain't getting paid next year.
Is we close to the gun line, boss? Close to the gun line.
It's crazy, man. Shout out to Casey Mack and the War Room Sports Game Time group. He said Dak is way better than Quincy Carter. Well, here's my answer to that.
How's everybody on this show?
That ain't hard to be in here, but still.
Everybody on this show is better than Quincy Carter. And I'm actually not joking. And I ain't never seen Fred play. I'm better than Quincy Carter.
All right, so, we're going to talk about what happened while y'all were on the grind. But before we do that, just want to let you guys know the usual. You can check out our website at warroomsports.com. Check out everything we're doing there on the site. If you want to talk to us while we're live on the air, you can jump into that JW Philly Realty chat room by going to blogtalkradio.com/The War Room. If you don't have an account, you can sign up for one. If you don't want to sign up for one, I think you can sign in through your Facebook and Twitter accounts still. But you can go in there with Skyview1 is in the chat room holding it down like he does every week. Or you can also call us The Digital Extreme Tech Hotline will be reopened after we talk about these grind topics. That number is 323-410-0012. Press 1 when prompted, but if you already listen from your phone, just press 1 if you want to talk. And if you're already holding, just hang tight. Give us a few minutes and we're going to get back to the hotline. All right, so while y'all were on the grind, it's brought to you by Jimmy's Book, Sports the Book. If you guys are tired of reading the same old sports books with the same list and lots imaginary starting lineups and all kinds of subjective information that people are passing off as facts these days, be sure to pick up your copy of Sports. It's an acronym, so stay with me. Smart people only read the sports. It's a mixture of sports and hip-hop culture. It'll keep you on the edge of your seat. It'll keep you laughing like you're watching a Netflix comedy special or something. Just go to sportsthebook.com or get your copy from our website, warroomsports.com. But wherever you end up getting your copy, don't get it from the bootlegger, but wherever you end up getting it, just make sure you don't miss this movement. All right. While y'all were on the grind this week, several things happened. We're going to talk about them. All right. Number one, while you were on the grind, the Washington Mystics were bumped from their own arena while playing in the WNBA Finals. First of all, I live in the Washington, D.C. area. I had no clue until it was already underway that Mystics were in the finals. I had no clue that the WNBA was still going on. So shame on me. I think it's over.
You get a pass.
They've already
you get
lost.
a pass for that.
Yeah. They've already lost to Seattle, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm just flying off the cuff with this stuff. But I do believe it's already over. I came across some information, people were talking about where they were playing. They were playing at George Mason University in the Eagle Bank Arena down there in Virginia. And I'm thinking to myself, like, well, they play at the, where the Wizards play. They play at the Capital One Arena. So then I look it up, and I see an article that came out before the finals started. And it was basically saying, it was a bunch of BS. Like, they were giving you these crazy reasons of why they were playing at George Mason. One being there's still renovations going on at Capital One Arena. So I'm like, renovations?
That ain't true.
I was like, and then I was like, oh. And I threw up the air quotes, renovations. They are renovating Capital One Arena because they were putting a stage in there for that Drake and Migos concert that's going on tonight. So they couldn't play their WNBA Finals game there last night, but they already started building stages for something that's going to sell way more tickets. I get it. Air quotes, y'all. Renovations. I get it.
Renovation.
How crazy is that, though? You know what I'm saying? You are in the finals of your sport. This is the arena that you play in. You play your home games in all throughout the season. And I guess they're just, first of all, they're just not used to their success because they scheduled something during this time, probably thinking that they had no chance to be playing at this particular time. Two, they couldn't even fill the arena that they were, the college arena that they were bumped to. So, the people who run the Capital One Arena are basically like, look, they're our hometown women's team. I guess they love them, but there's no way they're going to sacrifice a date with Drake and Migos and all the money that they can make on a night like that for 67 people to come in here and watch a WNBA Finals game. So I get it, but it still seems foul on the surface. Y'all got any thoughts about this before we move on?
And these young ladies have the nerve. And these young ladies have the nerve to say that they're underpaid.
There's no way that they
move the needle.
Pay them what they're asking. Like, you can't even get that kind of revenue from just ticket sales alone. So where do they think the money is coming from? Everybody makes it sound so easy. You know what I mean? Like, we're professionals. We should be getting paid what the men are getting paid. Like, come on, man. This is not a
LeBron
sexist
makes what
conversation.
most
It's
WNBA players make in a season. That's not good.
Yeah, but LeBron makes more than what their arena makes in a season. So
in one game.
And it's he probably makes way more than what their arena makes in the season. I'm talking concessions and everything. So it's like I don't understand how, I don't know. People need to take more econ classes, take some more math classes. You can't just say things and it happened and it's just right. Even though you have people who've taken their plight on that. Yeah, they're right. They should be getting paid. Come on, man.
It sounds good.
I mean, because first of all, we used to always talk about how, athletes get paid way too much money, to play children's games. Like, why? How come teachers don't get paid that much? But the realistic answer to that is they get paid that much is because they generate that kind of money, and we still, talk negatively about the discrepancy between what the owners and the franchises are making versus what the players are making. So it's like, much power, more power to the WNBA people, man. And like I tell everybody, man, go get your money if you can. But I don't think anybody coming off that kind of bag. All right, so your man Oscar De La Hoya says that he is considering running for president in 2020. I don't even think it's necessary for me to read any details of this story. You can just take the headline alone and give your opinions. I mean, I think we're living in a society now that everybody's seeing. Like, first of all, we got the star and executive producer of The Apprentice in the White House right now. So people are like, look, anybody can be president now. People say that to their children. It's no longer just encouragement. Like, anybody can be president now.
I'll Jordan shrug to this one and say Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson wants to run for president too. So,
hey,
I'll vote for him
years ago.
Before
I think
vote for
LeBron can make a run at it. It's a popularity. It's like high school politics. It was a popularity contest.
Once said anything's possible. We've seen it. Anything's possible.
Anything's possible.
Didn't Oscar De La Hoya get caught in a hotel room with pantyhose, high heels, and feathers in his butt?
Are you saying that's going to have a negative effect on his campaign?
Nah, I just wanted to bring it up. That might help his campaign.
If you look at the guy that's in there now, like, he's bulletproof.
After seeing the bull job,
none of the crazy stuff he's done
now, anything can go through.
Yeah. I mean, Oscar De La Hoya would be popular with Mexican Americans, and one day we will have a Mexican American president. I just don't think it's going to be Oscar De La Hoya. So, he could probably chill. Like, we're getting to a point, like, I don't know, man. It's hard to take people seriously, but I think people just are serious because they look at the current situation and everybody thinks that they can do a better job. But how many times we just, are we going to start a trend? We just voting celebrities into the office now. Oscar 2020, LeBron 2024.
Hey, Magic might get in too. You never know. Magic might get in once. You never know.
Ray J 2028.
I don't want Magic, Oprah, Oscar, LeBron. I don't want any of these people in the White House. So.
You don't want Jay-Z in the White House.
Jay been there enough. He will be okay. All right, so what else happened this week while we're on the grind? A Central Oklahoma player loses his foot. Why did I laugh? My bad. I didn't mean to laugh. In a car accident.
That's a place for you, for that.
Yeah, I know. I didn't think about it until after I did it. Like, why did I just laugh? Like, the dude lost his foot. That's a serious situation.
Yeah, you going to hell.
Yeah, I mean, I've known that for quite some time now, so, but I guess I just reinforced it just now.
We'll be able to do the show while we're down there.
I mean, it seems like we do it from there every week anyway. With some of the hot takes we got. I'm trying to stall here because I had the details of it, but I can't find where I just had the details. Fred, You know anything
while
about
you're
this?
checking it out, I would like to give Fred some homework.
Okay.
Since we brought up Quincy Carter, and when we bring up Quincy Carter, I always bring up
I
a
remember
particular
Quincy Carter. He wasn't
Quincy
good.
Carter in a game was facing a blitz. When he turned his back to the blitz and threw the football up over his head like a grenade and ducked. And Deb saw it because we were together and embarrassed for all black people everywhere. He turned his back to the blitz and just threw the ball up over his head like it was a log.
Oh, snap. All right, so this Central Oklahoma football player lost his foot when he was run over by a train over the weekend. They said his name is Derek Loxodent. Why his last name got to be Loxodent? Spelled just like accident, but with an L-O in the front.
Yeah.
Derek Loxodent, 20 years old. He was trying to crawl under a stopped train when the train started moving. They said the train severed his foot, but he was able to flag down a nearby person who took him to a hospital. Fred, I know this is not the level of football that you cover, but I'm going to go out on a limb and wonder why Division II defensive back was trying to crawl under a train.
Your questions are my questions. When I saw this a day or so ago, I'm saying to myself, why are you underneath a train in the beginning?
I think he went out on a limb, unfortunately.
That was so wrong. That was so wrong on many levels.
So many levels. All right, and last but not least, man, Kevin Garnett is suing his accountant over $77 million that he claims his accountant allowed him to lose to a wealth manager. So
really, Kevin Garnett?
Yeah. He's alleging that his accountant helped the wealth manager steal $77 million. You're right. Anything is possible. So this federal malpractice lawsuit alleges that this Kentucky-based accountant, Michael Wertheim, enabled Charles Banks IV of Atlanta to defraud him through businesses in which Garnett and Banks shared an interest. The lawsuit contends that Wertheim possessed actual knowledge that Banks was helping himself to millions of dollars of Kevin Garnett's money, and he did nothing about it. Now, I'm hoping, I don't wish this kind of thing on nobody, but I'm hoping that the story is legit, and this is just not Kevin Garnett trying to get out in front of the fact that he's about to announce to the world that he's going to be on the next episode of Broke.
BMF.
I really hope that that's not the case, because Kevin Garnett made a lot of money during his NBA career. Yeah. And it's all starting to make sense to me, because I'm thinking, with all the money that he made, I mean, I know, Shaq made a whole lot of money, and he still wants to work. He does his thing on TNT and some other places. But Shaq is funny, and Shaq on an Emmy Award-winning show. I'm wondering if it's his money problems that's making Kevin Garnett subject us to the awfulness that is Area 21, a segment on this same show.
That show is terrible.
Area 20. No. First of all, like, Kevin Garnett is terrible. If the host is terrible, then the show doesn't have a chance.
No, Fred.
Yeah, because you get some dudes to sit around and bust it up, and it'll be interesting. But Kevin Garnett is terrible.
Conceptually, the show is tremendous, but in practice and actuality, it's one of the worst shows on the air. Like, it is.
I can't
really
handle it. I can't handle just listening to
it. He has no personality. Yeah, it's bad, man. That show is real bad.
Don't forget about his reading skills. Remember when he totally went over what was that word that he just made a sound instead of reading the word? I gotta get that clip for y'all.
Kids, education is important. I'm sorry.
He can't read.
Not really, because anything is possible, and you can make, hundreds of millions of dollars without an education. So,
when I look at something like this, I'm always reminded by a certain Richard Sherman who just recently negotiated his own contract because he didn't want an agent. And he happened to say, you know, if you're in the NFL, you've had a college experience, that you should be able to at least be competent enough to handle your own finances, or at least be able to check on things a little bit. If you can't do that, you deserve to lose all of your money. I'll just go with him, and I'll just quote Richard Sherman.
Well, Casey Mack in the chat says Casey's lying his ass off. He said he's making it up because his wife coming after that bag. I didn't think about that either. He is about to go through a divorce, so he's trying to get his knives on. He's trying to hide his money from Khalid.
He's trying to get his Carlos. He's trying to get his Carlos Boozer on.
That's a great point because I did not think of that. Yeah, Carlos Boozer play like $63 a month in child support now because he claimed he has no income.
Yeah, okay.
Boozer is, he working the system.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
I can't say I'm mad at
Boozer's net worth is like $60 million too, but he pulled that off.
Boozer is working the system, and I'm not mad at you. All right, so that's what happened this week. While y'all were on the grind, all right, we're gonna do some quick birthday shout outs, and then we're gonna get back to the phone lines while during this NFL segment. All right, so the birthdays are brought to you by no one in particular. Shout out to my man EJ. Birthday segment is unsullied by sponsorships. Not by choice, because we ain't got one. So anyway, shout out to Nene, who turns 36 years old.
My birthday, yay!
Nene is still big man.
No Nad.
Huh?
You said Nene or No Nad? No Nad hilarious.
Shout out to Travis Knight. Travis Knight is 44 years old. I remember, when Travis Knight came into the league with promise, but to me, I was like, you got to show him. You just look like a tall, skinny white dude.
He had a spark when he started.
I think he was one of those skilled players with a high enough basketball IQ, but his athleticism just didn't match up with what he could do. I mean, kind of like me now, at my age and my current weight. Like, I think I'm the smartest I've ever been about basketball. Like, I'm teaching my 7-year-old son concepts about the game that the other people his age probably have no clue about, because I need to do something with this knowledge, because I damn near can't go on the court and do anything with it without ending up in the hospital. So that was always Travis Knight to me, even when he was 20 years old. Shout out to Denny Nagel, who turns 50 years old. Brad Johnson, Super Bowl champion winning quarterback, Brad Johnson. He turns 50. Shout out to Bernie Williams, formerly New York Yankees. He's 50. And then shout out to another Johnson, Michael Johnson, of track and field fame. So we'd like to give a war room salute to all of these folks on their birthday.
Yay!
Y'all childish, man. I can't do nothing around y'all, man. I can't just speak the King's English around these dudes,
I'm
man.
trying, Bill. I'm trying, bro.
You gotta be on the lookout for everything you say. All right. So once again, y'all can check out the website, warroomsports.com, if you want to call in and speak with us about mainly NFL topics. That's what we're going to do for the rest of the show. But I know some people have been holding for a while, so if you got some stuff from early in the show that you want to chime in on, no doubt you can do that. The Digital Extreme Tech hotline is open. It's 323-410-0012. Press 1 when prompted, but if you're already listening from your phone, just press 1 if you want to talk. And this NFL segment is brought to you by Digital Extreme Technologies. Do you or your business need a custom website? Well, for dynamic, professional, and most of all, affordable custom website solutions, you need Digital Extreme Technologies. No need to break the bank for an effective online presence. Top quality, results-driven websites at incredibly affordable prices. And yes, financing options are available. So visit digitalextremetech.com or call 267-205-4000. 4203. And for discounted rates, be sure to tell them the homies over at War Room Sports sent you. All right. Let's talk about some Fitz magic. John Gruden and, some of the puzzling questions he had about his team after the game. Patrick Mahomes' debut, Aaron Rodgers' injury, and a little bit more. But before we do that, we are going to go to the phone lines. We got a couple of callers. We got the homie Naj calling in from down on the ATL. Naj, what's going on? You're in the War Room.
Hey, ain't much, man. I'm chilling, man. How y'all?
We good, man. We good. Same old,
What
same
up,
old.
Naj?
I can't say nothing around these dudes.
No, good. Hey,
I'm a little bit more tame than the other
guy,
but
so let me hit the WNBA point before we hit the NFL, though, just real quick.
You get the WNBA.
What's that?
Yeah,
we're good now. Go ahead.
Firstly, shout out to Colangelo, the working man's a sucker. They sat down and had a meeting, talked about, revenue within the league and the players, and they leave the meeting, and Skylar Diggins and some folks get out there and start saying, well, the NBA players make – whoa. That's not what they talked to y'all about the meeting. They talked to y'all about the share of the revenue made, not comparing yourself to other leagues. That's crazy as hell. So, yeah, they made the bad argument instead of the real argument, which was they're laying the foundations for the WNBA to be around 50 years from now, so they should ask for a bigger share of the revenue made. Not that you should make, crazy contracts like other established leagues. They got out there on Instagram, put that bad argument out there. Now they're going to have hell when the labor fight starts because the teams are just going to go back to this and kind of present, the fans against the players, and they're going to lose. So shout out to the WNBA players for taking on the NFL players' legacy of bad negotiation. Oh, go ahead.
I love Skylar Diggins with a large part of my heart and a large part of my other anatomy, but she has got to be stupid. Stuck on stupid when she brought that up. And I was looking at her like, oh, you're too beautiful to be that dumb. You can't possibly be this. Come on, man.
Oh, imagine holding a meeting with her for a few hours and she walks away with that. I know you know what I mean? Like, that's not what was said. Like, she ruined their argument.
All these PowerPoints that I done made and presented to y'all, and that's what you leave here with? Like, come on, man. Like, you gotta do better.
Who was scrolling on their phone during the meeting. That's what they
exactly.
But,
exactly. You were not paying attention.
Right. But going to the NFL, man, we got to get away from outcomes and start looking at process more than anything. So guys like Dak, Tyrod, Alex Smith, they're the same guy. Risk-averse quarterbacks who you can win with if your team is structured a certain way and you call the plays that they can actually, what I'm saying?
Don't poop on Alex Smith like that. Don't poop on Alex.
Donovan family tree. No, Alex is one of them.
Alex Smith is one of them. Different Alex Smith is in the same ball game, bro. He is entirely dependent on the play caller and the system he's put in, and eventually the people want to run him out of town because they're too tired of him missing big plays that could be made and being too scared to throw in the tight windows. Andy Reid, and we saw it in San Francisco when Kaepernick took his job. Alex is the same guy. Like all the three of these guys are the same. I'm saying you can win with them, but your team has to be.
He's not going to have that problem in Washington because they're always just starved for a name anyway, and those dudes aren't getting open, so he's not going to be missing too many opportunities.
Yeah, but Gruden is kind of the same ilk. Gruden built a system around Kirk Cousins to make Cousins look a lot more better than what he is. So he's going to do the same thing with Alex. I don't know if at a certain point he sees there's a ceiling there and decides to move on from Alex, but you can game plan with guys like that and still win. The issue becomes when the media starts presenting guys as superstars and these guys are really, really dependent on who's around them. Nick Foles, for example. And, that's just how this thing is. But we got so used to crowning people as far as quarterbacks that we start thinking every new guy is a superstar. And you go to the draft and they tell us it's a Hall of Famer in every draft. Like, come on, man. Hall of Famers are not in every draft. Every quarterback class is not going to be great. And there are going to be some mediocre guys and some above average, replacement players for the most part. So the question becomes, can you structure a
You're going to hate this. You're gonna hate this draft class, Ben. If you just off of what you just said, and I'm the college guy, but you're gonna hate this draft class because they're already crowning Drew Lock at Missouri. They're already crowning him already. And, well, Justin Herbert at Oregon. We know what Oregon quarterbacks look like regardless of who's the head coach. I'm just and we can't – and Nick Fitzgerald at Mississippi State, who's just a bigger Tebow. I'm just putting out there. You might want to just avoid the whole quarterback
how quickly they crowned Dak during his first preseason was when Tony Romo was hurt. Like they crowned him so
I bet the
fast
Cowboys would love to have him back.
They just kicked Tony Romo to the curb like he was a nobody. This was the first time that the Cowboys had somebody who won games while Tony Romo was sitting down, and they got excited. Oh, we don't need Tony.
Well,
needed Tony all this
of
time.
having a cheap quarterback for a couple of years. I mean, this is how Seattle built their thing. So, I mean, that's part of it, too. But
on the low, Dev, would you say Tony Romo is the third best Dallas quarterback ever?
Third
best? I wouldn't argue.
Yeah,
I wouldn't argue with that.
I wouldn't argue.
I probably would,
Yeah, but he does.
Yo, they be
flaw.
talking on Tony Romo and quiet step. I'd replace him. I would replace McNabb with Tony Romo in a New York minute, yo. We don't want a Super Bowl with this.
Okay, now you did. You brought up McNabb. When they ran Andy out of Philly and we saw Andy go to Kansas City, people finally understood. Andy is a great caller, great play caller, really good at scheme, really bad at time management. But he made McNabb not the other way around. Now people finally get it. They thought McNabb was a Hall of Famer when McNabb was just pretty good playing in a good system with talent around him. That is the perfect example of what I was saying.
The only thing about it, Nas, is that myself and B. Austin were telling people that the whole time, but we were just haters. Why we would hate on our own team when we rooted for McNabb every play of his career, but we were just being honest? I don't know. Because remember, McNabb left before Andy. He went to Washington and stunk the joint up. Like, when he came down here, they were so excited. Oh, we got McNabb now. We going to the Super Bowl, this and that. I'm like, I don't know, dog. I don't know if y'all want to get that excited, especially with him being away from Andy. McNabb without Andy, not a good quarterback.
Is an art.
You just hating because he left your team. You hating because he left your team.
See how
it went down.
Well, look, see how much play calling is an art form with Matt Ryan, because Matt Ryan is without Kyle Shanahan, and you see the difference. Just the difference between Sarkisian and Shanahan, even regardless if it's the run game, the pass game.
Sarkisian is terrible, though.
Sarkisian, I mean,
I don't know why they brought him back.
He's a failure.
Because there's no doubt about it that under Shanahan, Matt Ryan had his greatest seasons of his career, but it's not like he wasn't a very good quarterback before Shanahan came. Then the drop off.
He wasn't no damn MVP.
His drop off from
the art form that is called play calling.
And what they look like after one game this season, like Sarkisian, I don't understand why they brought him back.
How many times did Matt Ryan force the ball to Julio Jones against the Eagles first week of the season?
Sarkisian as a play caller is like playing 9 on 11. Dude is terrible, man.
He really is. And like I said, that's why, that's not emphasized enough when you're talking about the NFL, man. Play calling matters. Who understands game plan matters. And who also understands the limitations of their quarterback or the strengths of their quarterback. That stuff matters. So, like Nathan Peterman, he's a bum. Like, there's nothing you can do with Nathan Peterman. Guys like Alex and Tyrod, you can win with those guys. Even Dak. Like, Dak's not a bum. Like, Dak can play within a system that's built around the run game and him making those short throws. Yes, you can win with that. But if you want Dak to throw people open, but if you want Dak to throw people open or throw in the tight windows, like, no. Like, that's not going to work. Like, why would you even sign up for that? But if you got somebody like Jason Garrett employed, things like that can happen. So, I mean, that's where that kind of stuff falls. As far as Matt Ryan, man, that dude has limited arm strength to begin with. He knows where the ball is supposed to go, but that don't mean he's going to get it there. And when you get down in that red zone, man, he just can't fire it in. And he's not crafty enough, or I don't know, mechanically sound enough right now to make the plays. I think we need to make
his receivers don't separate. When's the last time we heard Mohamed Sanu's name?
Hey man, how many
Thursday?
years Tom Brady been throwing the dudes who can't get separation, but Tom Brady's ball placement gets them open. Many quick plays gets them open. Ball placement.
Yo, I don't know if y'all remember. It was just a week
Eli
ago. Matt Ryan threw a deep ball last Thursday.
Oh God!
Where he just heaved it down the middle of the field. And Julio was on the right sideline, and the ball just landed like 20 yards away from Julio. Julio was just looking at the ball like, what was that?
It was bad. Julio was looking like that should have been in my hands. Yeah.
He was looking like, how'd the ball get over there?
And it goes, and that kind of goes regardless of what level you're talking about, because I even look at, again, I'm the college guy, but I look at Alabama, for example, with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts gets all of the criticism, but when the second he lost Lane Kiffin, that offense looked really stale. And it's still, I mean, you have a decent quarterback in Tua, but they haven't played anybody yet. So you don't know what he really looks like until you get into the meat of your season where defenses really look good and they're fast. But play calling is an art. It's an art form, and very few guys can do it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, I mean, look, if you want to believe in Tony Romo, who has that Brett Favre streak in him, I can see why the Cowboys moved on. You don't want to pay that huge cap number. You got this cheap guy. You got the running game already. You invested in the offensive line. I can see how you could talk yourself into rolling with Dak and seeing what you can do in the future. But now that O-line's banged up, so what do you actually have? You look really bad on offense, and you're going to have to scheme your way out of it. And it don't look good going so far. But let's go to Eli. Eli knows where the ball is supposed to go. Can he place it there still? Hard to say, man. I saw Odell break open a few times, and the ball was not placed.
Eli had a moment where the ball went up and just randomly hit the ground. Just went to a spot. Eli had a moment. Eli had 3 throws that should have been touchdowns straight up to Odell Beckham Jr., and they were all incomplete.
He got bailed out on some pass interference calls, too. But,
yes, he did.
Eli has more of an excuse, though. Eli is he's on the later years of his career. Like Matt Ryan
Tom
doesn't
Brady's
have
even farther in his career. I don't want to hear that. No excuses.
No, I'm just saying. Tom Brady is different.
Tom Brady is an exception, dude.
Yeah. Plus, I was comparing him to Matt Ryan. I was saying Matt Ryan doesn't have an excuse. Eli doesn't.
Right. Not having arm strength, that's a problem as you age. But ball placement and touch, those are things you can work on. Hey, man, Dirk used to bring that guy out to do that damn lame-ass kick jumper in practice and all that. What is Matt Ryan and Eli doing? They're not bringing their old QB coach to make sure all of their fundamentals are sound because they can't afford to have a foot out of place, elbow not at the right angle, like anything. There's no room for error with them, so they need to go back to
perfect mechanics on every throw. That's weird.
You're an old man now. You know what I'm saying?
You can't just go out there and Patrick Mahomes it.
Hey man, some of us gotta creep a blue pill in for the night just in case. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause, you're not the same home run hitter you used to be. So I mean, it is what it is. But yo, I'm gonna hang back and listen to y'all, man.
All right, man. Thanks for your call as usual, man. We appreciate it.
Yep.
Yo, all right. So we spoke about it a little bit earlier, man, and I knew Tobias was gonna bring it up when he called in, but the Fitz magic was back for a game. This dude throws for over 400 yards. He's hitting all of his receivers. Everybody's eating. Everybody's happy. Even Deshaun Jackson is happy. And Tampa fans, and it's not anything that Tobias is making up because I've been listening to sports shows all week with Tampa fans calling in, trying to ask the hosts if they can think of scenarios where Fitzpatrick can, stay in as the quarterback and Jameis can just go away. And I'm like, yo, like, you don't have to be like super duper diehard NFL fan to know the Fitzpatrick life cycle. Like, we've seen this before. How many people are going to keep falling for it? I guess they're thinking, sometimes his magic does last for most of a season because that's how he ends up getting a contract offer that he doesn't live up to. But at any given moment he can just go back to the bad Fitzpatrick. So why do you even trust that anymore?
I've seen it as bad. I've seen it get as bad already as I've seen 2020 mock drafts why are we mock drafting something in 2020? We haven't gotten to 2019. But I've seen it as bad as Jameis is gone, and we're talking Tua Tagovailoa being the first pick in the draft for Tampa. That's how bad it's getting by Tampa.
To take over for Fitzpatrick, not Jameis. Fitzpatrick is going to be the new – he's going to be the new Sam Bradford, where he's the bridge between your former quarterback and your new quarterback.
Exactly. And the Tampa fans are fools for wanting this in the beginning, because outside of Jameis not really being able to keep his hands to himself, he's not a terrible quarterback. He just needs to work on some accuracy things and keeping his hands to himself.
Well, do you guys think that Fitz can keep his magic up for another week against the Philadelphia Eagles?
I believe in Fitzpatrick being able to keep this up as much as I believe in Tim Tebow making an NFL comeback.
Damn.
No, and I feel.
No, you know what? We've taken our turns pooping on Fitzpatrick, and rightfully so. But I have seen him do this for 3/4 of a season, and so I'm still somewhat nervous. I think that our defense, the Eagles' defense, is like nothing that Fitzpatrick has faced recently. So I think we'll be okay, but I certainly don't believe that he's just going to wilt after one game.
Right.
And Philly doesn't have the bomb squad in the secondary that the Saints had either. That's one of the things you have to remember.
But let me say that
pressure up front than the Saints had.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care if you have a bomb squad in the secondary if you're not bringing pressure. Because Fitzpatrick made the Saints secondary look amateurish, and I know Lattimore is a very good corner, but no one can cover for 4 and 5 seconds. And if you're not getting pressure, so for us, I have a lot of
difficult position in the game, in my opinion. So it's asking way too much against any quarterback to not get any pressure, and you expect us to run around with guys for 4 and 5 seconds. Yeah. 6 and 7 seconds sometimes with dudes like Aaron Rodgers running around. Y'all got to do something up front.
I don't think our secondary. I don't think the Eagles secondary is great, but we're a top 10 secondary with a top 2 or 3 front seven, and that front seven makes all the difference in the world. So we're good enough, and Fitzpatrick hasn't faced that type of front seven, so we'll be okay.
Fitzpatrick will have to see Fletcher Cox, not Sheldon.
And the defense gave up 40 points as well. So for an offense that struggled in week 1, like Phillies did, this could be a good time for Nick Foles to get into a little bit of a groove, if they're going to play the same way they played last week. But that is Drew Brees that they were playing against, so there is a big difference. All right, so we'll see with the, if he can bring out the Fitz magic. I'm hoping that he does it. What did you guys think of Patrick Mahomes' debut? 4 touchdown passes. There's a lot of people who just, they like to be on the negative side of things. Some people just like to keep it real. It's a little mixture of both, a little hating and a little realness. When you tell people he had 4 touchdown passes, they're quick to point out that 2 of them were 1-yard touchdown passes. 1 of them was an 11-yard touchdown pass. Look, touchdown passes are touchdown passes, really, because tell Matt Ryan that Mahomes only had a pair of 1-yard touchdown passes when he was in the red zone all day and couldn't do anything. So, touchdown, you get it in the end zone, that's the name of the game. So I'm not going to knock them because they were short touchdown passes. You still had to call the right play. You still had to execute it. Mm-hmm. Scoring down that low is actually a little bit more difficult because the field shrinks.
Windows are not there.
Yeah, so I'm not going to knock him for the yardage in his touchdown passes, but I think he had a pretty good debut. The league did as well because he was AFC Offensive Player of the Week. What did you guys think of Pat Mahomes and his much-anticipated debut as the Chiefs starter?
You guys, go ahead, B. Austin.
No, I was gonna say I'm impressed. I got to take a wait and see approach, but I'm impressed. The athleticism is there. We'll see what he does when there's a little bit more film on him. But I'm impressed.
Well, you guys know how I feel about Mr. Mahomes and this offense. I think it's the perfect marriage between a good quarterback and a really good play caller. He has the arm that can get it done. Yeah, I mean, you now have a quarterback that can go get it to Tyreek Hill without having him break stride, and it shows. I mean, this offense is scary, and when we previewed the season, I said this offense could be really scary or it could be really bad. So far, it looks really scary.
I got Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins on the edges, even though Sammy Watkins ain't do nothing first game, but
it's
still,
the threat of him being
prospect,
able to go.
That is the thing, though. After all of these years, I mean, not like it's been a whole lot, but after these years, we're still talking about Sammy Watkins and his potential. At this point, Sammy Watkins is just a guy with a name.
Sammy Watkins is what he is.
His name is bigger than what his game is at this point. But we still talk about him with a little modicum of fear, like, man, we got Sammy Watkins on the edge.
I think
cornerback is probably
because
what y'all telling me that for?
I think maybe that has a little bit to do with the fact that he played on a not so great Bills team when he was drafted. He didn't have the type of quarterback he has now who can just put it on him. I mean, he was dealing with E.J. Manuel and Tyrod Taylor at the time. I mean, and then he had Jared Goff in a new offense. He was hurt. All of those things go into that. And now you have a more explosive offense, and you don't have to be the guy. There's something to be said about not having to be the guy. I mean, Amari Cooper got used to it, and you see what he is now.
That's the crazy thing about it.
I get you.
Tyreek Hill is going to get so much attention. Sammy can start to eat off of that. Go ahead, B, my bad.
Yeah. That's an absolutely amazing point, what you just said there, Fred. But the bottom line is, Sammy Watkins wasn't drafted to be a number 2 or a number 3 guy.
He was supposed to be the guy.
Or a number 3 guy, I still believe Sammy Watkins can give you a lot of production, but they drafted him with ideas that he could approach what they believe Odell Beckham will be. You know what I'm saying? So it's not.
Yeah.
Well, if he can.
I remember when he came out of Clemson, he was supposed to be the better player between him and DeAndre Hopkins. The comparisons to AJ Green were always there, and even in college, I didn't see the AJ Green comparison, but I saw where I could see where people were saying this. Okay, he could be a guy. He could really be someone you'd be worried about because of his athleticism, his ability to go up and get it and to run after catch. But I don't know. Receiver is one of the toughest positions to transition to in the league because in college, guys don't have to run a true route tree anymore. It's just bubble screens and go routes, really. That's really a lot of what you have to do.
Yo, man, DeAndre got what Shaq calls feet work.
DeAndre is a dog. The thing is, he's a dog too. I mean, he'll mix it up with you. Ask D'Angelo Hall. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
I even broke that man's ankles in the joint practice. I told him about it. Yeah, I told these folks stop talking to me. Told these folks stop talking to me. So what do y'all think about Aaron Rodgers and his injury, man? He had a Paul Pierce moment the other night. Laid on the ground. Got carried off the field, got carted back to the locker room, and then actually came back. I mean, y'all remember the 2008 finals when y'all man Truth laid next to the bench like somebody shot him from the upper deck. Then he went off the court in a wheelchair looking like, and then came back, got his Willis Reed moment on mid-game. Aaron Rodgers had the same kind of moment. Chicago was fully in control of the game when he left. Khalil Mack
was really worried.
And like he was the best player in the league at the time. And then Aaron Rodgers comes hobbling out of the tunnel and leads them on 3 touchdown drives to bring the game back and win it.
I think the injury is real. I think he was worried about the pain.
I thought he was done for the season.
I was a little worried.
Yeah.
I thought it was
bad for that. Yeah.
I think it's a real injury. I just think that he realized, hey, I can't do any more damage to it than it already is. I can finish this game, you know, and so he came out there and toughed it out. I think we'll find that there is some level of minor soft tissue damage. It may not be a full-on tear, but something was wrong.
It's not a tear. They've been rehabbing it for the.
It was a knee sprain, but
he hasn't practiced. I'm thinking, you know, just to preserve your hopes for the rest of the season, I would probably sit him out. I know it's a big opponent. You know, they're playing the Vikings. That's probably who they're going to be battling with to try to win the division. But I think I would let him sit out of this one, man, just to be on the safe side for next week. But we'll see if he ends up on the field again.
The mobility is going to be a lot different. It's going to be a lot different him extending plays.
Right, and this might be the game that you want him in there less mobile than Aaron Rodgers. You might not want to throw him to the new age purple people eaters when he can't move. But
if cyborg version Aaron Rodgers shows up in that game, because what I saw on Sunday night, that even without the injury, very few guys do that. You see the Joe Montanas of the world, the Steve Youngs, Brady Manning. Those kind of guys put those performances together. And quite honestly, the Bears kind of crapped the bed in that game too. I mean, those guys on scholarship.
They're not ready yet. They're not ready to finish games with that kind of pressure yet. But they look good in the first half of the game. Nobody's picking the Bears to do anything special this year, but improve, and I think they will do that. Those signs up in the first game. We mentioned Khalil Mack for a moment, but I want to ask you guys a question. I was about to say his former head coach, but he really didn't get a chance to play for him. John Gruden, you know, his team looked okay for a half and then got smoked by the Dream Team in the second half. John Gruden, after the game, was wondering, he was a little puzzled about why his team wasn't getting any pressure on the quarterback. Does anybody want to give him an answer for that?
John Gruden, somebody in management has to teach John Gruden about the way the fifth-year option is set up for deals nowadays, because he was upset. He was upset that Khalil Mack was going to hold out on the fifth-year option, but that's par for the course. Everybody does that.
Yeah.
Everybody does
but
that.
You
that's not
Khalil Mack a couple of days before the season starts, and after game one, you asked the media out loud why we didn't get any pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah.
Maybe because you traded the second coming of Lawrence Taylor to the Bears right before the season. I don't know. That's just a thought that I had, man. It was a weird question. But yeah, as Fred and I talked about on Cover 2, and you guys can check out the latest episodes of Cover 2 on the War Room Sports. The War Room Sports YouTube page, we talked about that there. So if you want to see that conversation a little more in depth, just make sure you check out the War Room Sports YouTube page and go to Cover 2. It was just a little bit weird to hear him say that. All right, so we only have like a minute left. We were going to talk about some of these games in depth, these games of the week, but we're going to go rapid fire with it. I'm just going to ask you guys. I'm going to give you the game, and you just tell me who's going to win. We don't need anything extra with it. Just tell me who's going to win. Thursday nighter, Ravens at Bengals. B?
Bengals.
Fred?
Ravens.
I think the Ravens are going to go on the road and take this one as well. Panthers at Falcons. Fred?
Panthers.
B?
Falcons.
I'm going to take the Panthers on that one. Vikings at Packers. I'm going to take the Vikings on in the Lambeau, not knowing what's up with Aaron Rodgers. B, who you got?
Vikings.
Fred?
Purple people eaters.
Chiefs at Steelers. Fred?
I got to go with the Chiefs. I like it.
B?
Chiefs.
Chiefs here as well. We got a lot of road teams winning here. Eagles at Buccaneers. B?
Eagles.
Eagles for me as well. Fred?
I'm going with the Eagles. Kind of worried, though.
Patriots at Jags. Rematch of the AFC Championship. Fred, who you got?
You don't have to ask me this one. You don't have to ask me this one.
B, who you got?
Jags.
I got the Patriots as well. I'm sitting here looking like, damn, I might have picked all away teams on this. All right, everybody, it's time for us to get up out of here. So thank you, brothers and sisters, for joining us for another briefing in the War Room. Shout out to everybody in the chat room, Facebook, Twitter, War Room Sports, Game Time on the GroupMe app, and all the callers who called in to chop it up with us. If we didn't get to you, man, our bad. We will get to you next week, we promise. Special thanks to Gus Griffin for sending in his handicap picks. Special thanks to Jason Campbell for writing that piece on Serena and actually calling in to talk about it. Special thanks for Fred Perdue for helping us steer this bird without Jimmy. Tune in next week live right here on demand as we recap NFL Week 2 and preview Week 3. We'll catch you up on everything else happening around the world of sports. So until then, enjoy your weekend, enjoy your week, and we'll see you right back here next time. Be sure to catch our conversations on Facebook, Twitter, as well as our blogs, webcasts, and network podcasts on warroomsports.com. Also, make sure you pick up a copy of Jimmy's book at sportsthebook.com or warroomsports.com. Until next time, everybody, don't accept mediocrity. Be steadfast in the war against ignorance, and we'll see you chumps on top.
Jimmy, know the blueprint. Every Thursday, 6 to 8, they do this. Shout out to Dev, PJ, B. Austin, Bay on replay. warroomsports.com. Get that mobile app. If not, dial 323-140012. They be going and you sensitive, then oh well. Physical podcast, let's talk sports. Showtime like magic in the block push. Listen live, push one to join in. Rip your team or listen for your enjoyment. Hip hop scholars, pit stop and knowledge. Should be in sports credits, I ain't talking college. 5 guys, no beef though. Corporate secret, but the streets know. Belafonte, I got a G flow. KC, royalty, I'm in beast mode. 2 hours, get your game up. Who's the best in sportscast? You better name us. War Room Sports. Yeah, you know, Jimmy, Dev, PJ, Shot Back, B. Austin. I'm Jock. Up and coming on the beat.
War Room Sports, www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.